Hello everybody. Welcome to the new edition of the Meet the Expert vlog. My name is Brendan Mathews, Product Manager for PARCELTRAX, Vanderlande's new solution. Today, we'll be doing a deep dive into the parcel industry and small parcel handling. Small parcels used to represent only a minor portion of all items delivered by carriers. However, in the recent years with the e-commerce boom, small parcel handling has increased significantly. While an increase in smalls handling is positive for the industry, many sort centers still rely on systems and processes that weren't designed to handle this type of volume. In most parcel facilities, the handling of small parcels is a highly manual process, a challenge that is further highlighted by an ongoing labor scarcity. In a response to changing market needs, innovations in technologies and processes are making their way into sort centers. At Vanderlande, we've developed PARCELTRAX, an auto-consolidated bagging solution borrowing concepts from the warehousing industry. Before we take a closer look at PARCELTRAX, let's check in with my colleague, Henny van Boxtel, who's an expert in system concepting in the parcel industry.
Hey Brendan.
Hey Henny.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
Great. I brought you your favorite coffee.
Thank you very much. I was just telling our viewers about today's small handling process a little bit and the increase in volume in the industry. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about more of the process and what we see today.
Sure, thank you for asking. So we distinguish the sort process handling smalls. Besides of the regular parcels, this is where it's about, the small sort items to be sorted. And the sort process is already automated in the far extent, except of the last piece. So the sorting the items into the bag is still the remaining part which is not automated sufficiently. The process of an item ending up from a sorter into a bag is something that's over multiple bags, destinations. A bag is a destination. The items are dropped into that bag at the right position, and over a while the bags will be filled. The operators aside of the sorter will close the bag when it's filled, put a label on it, and then put it on a takeaway belt for the next step in the process. Now, that effort is quite extensive, and it's not ergonomic. There are options popping up in the industry where you're going to make that more automated. That's in a solution based on a tote system. Now, where the manual operation is today is where you have 10 chutes, 10 destinations will be supervised by one single operator. So if you have 100 or you have 500, you need a lot of effort to get that in place. And they're not in always the most nice environment. So that is one of the main focus first. The second one is the footprint, because you require a lot of space, people, operators, access, etc. Safety accordingly is also being considered. The solution today is stepping into automation, where one of the technology is now based on tote handling. So there's actually an intermediate step. So sorting the small items not directly in a bag, but first in a tote. And the tote will then be automatically transported to a dedicated workstation where an operator then closes the bag and then will put a label on it. But that is in an isolated area where it's more ergonomically presented. And in the automation of transport, etc., will require less operators in total. Now, eventually the downside is still that there is a lot of footprint required, and the tote solution is still also quite of cost-intensive investment required. Now, if we focus now on the step we consider, or the PARCELTRAX solution, I think it's a unique solution at the moment because it brings a reduction on required operators, which needs to secure the whole process. It fits within a smaller footprint compared with the automation steps we see as alternatives. And eventually, last but not least, also our customers, they are really into what does it cost me? And that is where the PARCELTRAX is really a good fit for it, because it's a better cost-effective solution compared with the alternatives.
Absolutely. So just to summarize what you were focused on for the process, today we see a very suboptimal process, really focused on manual operation with a very, very limited footprint.
Correct.
Thank you, Henny. I really appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Next time.
Bye.
In spite of these challenges, parcel companies are now looking to the warehousing industry for solutions. For example, the pouch sorter is very common within the fashion industry. robots, and autonomous vehicles are also interesting because of their ability to reduce manual labor. While these concepts can help to reduce manual operation, they're often limited by capacity and space requirement issues. With that, let's take a look at PARCELTRAX. At first glance, PARCELTRAX may look like a traditional pouch sorting system. However, there are a few key differences. First major difference is that PARCELTRAX is designed to fit underneath your existing sorter. This allows for optimal use of existing footprint as well as health and safety concerns. You now no longer have a full pouch or bag above your head. The second important distinction of PARCELTRAX is the rail system. Using a belted conveyor helps improve robustness of the overall system and allows for transport of up to 35 kilograms. It also helps to improve ergonomics around the sorter. Instead of manually taking these bags on and off, it allows for the automated transport of a full bag. In order to transport a full weight load of 35 kilograms, a robust hanger design is also needed. That's why we've designed our hanger out of 3D printed plastics and metals in order to sustain a high throughput and minimal wear and tear. However, we are often asked the question, how do we reach full capacity without manual intervention or manual operation? To answer that question, let's go meet with Christian Schneeberger, Director of R&D and visiting from our Barcelona office.
Okay, Brendan. Let's use the opportunity here to explain you a little bit, walk you through all the technologies that we are using. The best way is to start with the empty bags. When they arrive to our compact sorter, basically what we are solving here is we need to divert the bags. They end up under the chute. How we do that is we designed a new rail system where the bags are hanging, and we used our knowledge on pocket sorter solutions to have a improved solution where we are holding our 35 kilo bags. What we do here is we stop in the position and parcels start filling in. We use AI for checking the bags. In the moment the bags are full, we merge the flow of these full bags into the main flow to bring these bags into an area where we unload automatically the bags. Thanks to the new technology we used in the trolley. And then the bags go back to the main flow to wait for a new position to be filled.
Fantastic. Now you mentioned a little bit about AI and what we're using around the filling station. Could you talk about the focus points that we're using AI for there?
Yeah, very interesting question, because it's a technology which is much more complete than using sensors. First thing that we did here is we check if the bag is full, which you could do with sensors. But we have a better detection with AI, because we can see if the bag is half full. By this we know the volume that we are using. And the second function is we detect if something falls into the floor in order to enable and trigger that somebody comes and picks up that parcel.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for explaining the technologies to us. It's very appreciated.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. And that concludes this edition of the Meet the Expert vlog on small parcel handling. I hope you found our expert's contribution as insightful as I did. Stay tuned for the next Meet the Expert vlog, and don't forget to like and share.